Tokyo or bust, my quest for enlightenment, or at least a decent sushi burrito. The journey began with a simple idea: to explore the vibrant streets of Tokyo and uncover the hidden gems of Japanese culture. Japan, land of the rising sun. A place where tradition meets modernity in the most fascinating ways. Home of bullet trains and ancient temples. The juxtaposition of the ultra-modern Shinkansen and the serene, timeless beauty of ancient temples is something that never ceases to amaze. Also, apparently, the inventor of the sushi burrito. Yes, you heard that right. A fusion of two beloved cuisines, creating a culinary masterpiece. Who knew? Not me, your intrepid traveler. Armed with nothing but a map and an insatiable curiosity, I set out to discover this intriguing creation. I decided on a whim that I needed to find myself in the mystical heart of Japan. The allure of ancient traditions, the promise of spiritual enlightenment, and of course, the quest for the perfect sushi burrito. Or at least find a really good sushi burrito. The idea of combining fresh sushi ingredients with the convenience of a burrito was too tempting to resist. Whichever came first. This trip was going to be life-changing. I had a feeling that this journey would be filled with unexpected discoveries and unforgettable experiences. I could feel it in my bones. The excitement of exploring a new culture, the anticipation of tasting new flavors, and the thrill of the unknown. Or maybe that was just the questionable gas station sushi I ate for lunch. Either way, adventure awaited. With a mix of excitement and a touch of trepidation, I embarked on my quest, ready to embrace whatever came my way. As the plane took off, I couldn't help but feel a sense of exhilaration. The journey ahead was filled with endless possibilities, and I was ready to dive in head first. Stepping into Tokyo, I was immediately struck by the energy of the city. The neon lights, the bustling streets, and the harmonious blend of old and new. Every corner held a new adventure. Every street a new story. From the local markets to the ancient temples, Tokyo was a city that promised endless exploration. And then, there it was. The sushi burrito shop I had been searching for. Watching the chef skillfully prepare the sushi burrito, I knew this was going to be a culinary experience like no other. The first bite was a revelation. The perfect blend of fresh ingredients, the harmony of flavors, and the convenience of a burrito. It was everything I had hoped for, and more. As I savored each bite, I realized that this journey was about more than just finding a sushi burrito. It was about discovering a new culture, embracing new experiences, and finding a piece of myself along the way. With a heart full of gratitude and a stomach full of sushi burrito, I looked forward to the next adventure. Because in the end, it's not just about the destination, but the journey itself. Packing for peril. The art of bringing everything except what you need. Pack light, they said. It'll be easier, they said. Lies, I tell you. How else would I be prepared for every eventuality? Mosquito net? Check. Inflatable kayak? Check. Emergency supply of mayonnaise packets? Double check. Passport? Hey, I'll figure that out later. Confidence? Packed in spades. Common sense? Definitely left that one at home. This is going to be great. Lost in translation. Literally. Navigating Narita with hand gestures and hope. Arriving at Narita International Airport, I was immediately struck by the sheer scale and complexity of the place. The signs were in Japanese, and my limited knowledge of the language didn't help much. The flight was an experience. From the moment I boarded, I knew this journey would be unlike any other. The flight attendants were polite, but the language barrier was evident. I tried to follow along with the in-flight announcements, but it was mostly a guessing game. Let's just say I'm pretty sure I set a new record for most times saying sumimasen in a 12-hour period. Every time I needed something, whether it was a drink or directions to the restroom, I found myself repeating that word over and over. Stepping off the plane at Narita International Airport, I was hit with a wall of sensory overload. The airport was a hive of activity, with people rushing in every direction. The bright lights, the constant announcements in Japanese, and the sheer number of people were overwhelming. Bright lights, unfamiliar sounds, and absolutely no idea where I was going. I stood there, trying to make sense of the signs and directions, but it was like trying to read a book in a language I didn't understand. My carefully crafted Japanese vocabulary, sushi, arigato, Pikachu, wasn't exactly proving useful. I had spent weeks trying to learn some basic phrases, but in the heat of the moment, my mind went blank. Time to improvise. Pointing, nodding, and wildly gesticulating became my new language. I found myself relying on hand gestures and body language to communicate. It was a challenge, but it was also an adventure. Surprisingly, it sort of worked. Mostly. The locals were incredibly patient and helpful. Despite the language barrier, they went out of their way to assist me. I realized that sometimes a smile and a bit of effort can go a long way in bridging the gap between cultures. The Toilet of Terror. A cultural exchange I was not prepared for. After a confusing train ride and several wrong turns, I found my hotel. Modern, sleek, and equipped with a toilet that looked like it could launch a space shuttle. Seriously, this thing had more buttons than the cockpit of a 747. There was a button for everything. Heated seat, water pressure adjustment, soothing nature sounds. I may have accidentally pressed the emergency bidet button. Let's just say it was a learning experience, and I'm pretty sure I owe the hotel a new towel. Karaoke calamity. When I tried to serenade Tokyo and failed miserably. No trip to Tokyo is complete without experiencing the cultural phenomenon that is karaoke. Fueled by sake and misplaced confidence, I took the stage. The song? Bohemian Rhapsody. What could go wrong? Everything. My Japanese pronunciation sounded like a dying cat. I may have forgotten some of the words, okay, most of the words. But hey, at least I provided some entertainment, right? The crowd seemed to appreciate the comedy at least. Zen and the art of not getting hit by a bullet train. Reflections on a day of chaos. As the sun set on my first day in Tokyo, I found myself sitting on a bench in a peaceful garden, contemplating the chaos. The garden was a stark contrast to the bustling city I had just spent the day exploring. The tranquility of the setting sun, casting a golden hue over the meticulously maintained landscape, offered a moment of respite. I had eaten some questionable food, butchered the Japanese language, and navigated through a maze of street vendors selling everything from delicious takoyaki to the most suspicious-looking delicacies. Each bite was an adventure, a gamble between delight and disaster, and almost caused an international incident with a high-tech toilet. The array of buttons and functions on the toilet was both fascinating and intimidating. I pressed the wrong button and was met with a jet of water that left me more confused than before. And yet somehow, I was having the time of my life. The laughter that followed each mishap, the joy of discovering something new, and the sheer thrill of being in a place so different from home made every moment unforgettable. Tokyo was a whirlwind of the unfamiliar, a sensory overload of sights, sounds, and smells. The neon lights that illuminated the night sky, the constant hum of the city, and the sea of people moving in every direction created an atmosphere of organized chaos. It was a constant test of my comfort zone. Every turn presented a new challenge, whether it was deciphering a map, asking for directions, or simply trying to blend in. The feeling of being overwhelmed was ever present, but it was also exhilarating. And you know what? I kind of loved it. The chaos, the confusion, the constant surprises, they all added to the charm of Tokyo. It was a city that demanded your attention, that pushed you to your limits, and in return, offered an experience unlike any other. As I sat in that tranquil garden, reflecting on the day's events, I realized that the chaos was not something to be feared, but embraced. It was a reminder that sometimes the best experiences come from stepping out of your comfort zone and diving headfirst into the unknown. Tokyo. You will never be ready, but you should probably pack a phrasebook. So, what have we learned from my first 24 hours in Tokyo? Firstly, pack a phrasebook, or at least download Google Translate. Secondly, embrace the chaos. Tokyo is a city that rewards the adventurous spirit and a high tolerance for awkward situations. And finally, if you see a toilet with more buttons than a spaceship, proceed with caution. Trust me on this one. Trust me. Stay tuned for more misadventures. Next stop, Kyoto. But my Japanese journey is far from over. Next up, I'm heading to Kyoto, the ancient capital of Japan. Temples, geishas, and hopefully, a less confusing bathroom experience await. Stay tuned.